Now that we have a fuller class, I think it's time for us to just commence. Once again, good day, everyone. Some of us have not submitted our assignments. Please, if you can hear me, indicate you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right.
I can hear you.
Okay. So why haven't some of us submitted our assignments? I want to know why. Because from what I can see Angie Cutes, I can see Charities, I can see Faith, I can see Tammy's assignment, Gabriella. So now you're saying something, speak up. So now,
No, sorry, sir.
have you done your assignment?
Yes. Yes.
So if you have not submitted yours, please do that. It's very important. Because right now I'm taking my time out to go through all the assignments that we've been given to know those that have submitted theirs and those that have not submitted theirs. For our project, I'll make sure that you can only get project if your assignment is complete. If at any point in time you cannot hear me clearly, let me know. So it's important for us to pay attention. I know that this is a weekend. It's your time to have fun and play with friends, right? But just for this 1 hour, 30 minutes, let's pay attention. Let's pay attention to what's going on so that we follow in the class. Mr. Tammy, Miss Charity, and Mr. Faith. I'm speaking strictly about you. Not that 3 of you are together and 3 of you are friends. And when friends are together learning, they are always being distracted. Please, let's endeavor not to be distracted today. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Right. That's good. So we've been handling graphic windows for some time, and we've been handling graphics window for some time, and we've done quite a lot on it. We've learned how to draw some shapes like rectangle, like circle, ellipses. We learn how to display some images on our computer. I would advise us, I would encourage us all to share our videos if it's possible, please. And I'm sharing mine. You can also see me. So we have learned, like I was saying, that we've been working through graphic windows. We've learned how to draw some shapes. We learned how to draw images. And we are going to explore more things on shapes. There are a number of ways to display shapes on your computer, and a number of ways to display shapes using the small basic programming language. And we are going to explore other methods of drawing shapes, even shapes that can do some stuff like shapes that can move, that can animate from one place to the other, shapes that can zoom in and zoom out. I'm also going to learn about delay. There's something in computer called delay. So you want something to happen, but you don't want it to happen immediately. You want it to happen like after maybe 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds. That is a delay. So we're going to also learn how to achieve that. In your life in programming, you're going to be needing that a lot of times, where maybe someone has just logged into a system and you want the page to reroute after a second, or things like that. So we're going to learn how to do things like delay as well. So we will just kick off our classes immediately. Wondering why I've not seen Telema and Soy here and Richie.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
Richard.
Okay, Richie. Yeah. And a number of other people who are not here yet, I wish we could be coming a lot earlier. Anyway, we're going to have the YouTube video. So those who could not meet up on time will go to the YouTube video and learn through that. I'm going to go on to share my screen right now. And we are going to be kicking it. So if you can see my screen, let me know what you can see on my screen so I will know you are seeing the right thing.
You can see your screen.
Operation of the ship Russian operation.
All right. That's good. That's good. You are seeing the right thing. Okay. So in the lesson today, we're going to be learning about creating shapes by using cells, by using the shape object, using various operations of the shape object, animating shapes on the screen. I wish we would be able to run as fast as possible so we can get to animation. You know, now let me tell you something. Our project was supposed to start today, but I know that there are a number of things we need to know how to do so that we can be able to handle our projects. So I decided to postpone it so that we'll learn those things, play with those things, walk through them so that you can have the capability of doing your project. So you have to pay attention because everything I'm going to be teaching us, everything we've been learning is going to come together to form what you will do in your project. So please try to pay attention to this. Yeah. So far, you have learned how to draw patterns in Small Basic by using the graphics window. This lesson introduces you to shapes, objects that Small Basic offers. By using these objects, you can draw, rotate, and animate shapes in the graphics window. You can color your shapes by using specific properties of the window or the graphic window object. So some of the objects are the add image object, the add rectangle, the hide shape, show space, the show shape, set opacity, get opacity. As time goes on, I'm going to explain to us what opacity means. Or does anyone know what it means to help the class? Is there anyone who knows what it means? Or opacity?
Opacity is opposite of transparency.
Yes, something like that. So sometimes in programming language, you can make something to be transparent or opaque. So from opaque, we get opacity. I'm sure you know what transparent means. Transparent means you can see through it. Opaque means that you cannot see through it. So computer makes it possible for you, or small basic programming language makes it possible for you to set the level of opacity. That is the level, the level of its, I call it now, it's opaque. So you can make it to be thick enough that you can't see through it, or you can make it to be a lot lighter that you can see through it. That is it. So we also have the move object, we have the animate object, we have the zoom object. So we're going to be exploring these objects of graphics window using shapes. And this is going to be the first line of code we're going to be writing. So I'm going to write this code while you watch, and then I'll advise you to write the code. So the first is to set a variable called rectangle. And that variable is going to be displaying a shape that is a rectangle, and the dimensions of the rectangle has been given. You can see dimensions of the rectangle is 400 and 300. So let us try it out. Okay, you know what we're going to do now?
Excuse me, sir, I did not spell your rectangle correctly.
So it's all right. Thank you very much for pointing that out. But let me also tell you something you need to know. Now this is a variable name. I can call it rect, and I change it here and call it rect. So computer doesn't really care whether you is that whenever it sees rect, it knows we are trying to talk about this shape. Before I go on, I want us to take out, there is something important I want to point out in it. So if you can see my screen, I want you to create a project of yours and then write down the code you can see on my screen. Write it down and run it. When you run it, tell me what you discovered, and then we can go on to the next line. Go on now. We have 2 minutes to do that.
I've done it and I got a purple rectangle. A purple rectangle.
Okay, who else have done that?
I've done it and I got a purple rectangle.
Okay, that's good.
So I've done it.
Okay, so you got a purple rectangle, and the rectangle started drawing itself from where? So where did it start to draw itself? From the top of the screen, right? From the top left. Run it again and tell me. Come again. I would really need you to pay attention. Please. Don't frustrate me. Pay attention. So come again, Angela, you are saying something, right?
Yes.
So your rectangle started drawing from where?
What do you say?
I asked, your rectangle started drawing from where?
I didn't start drawing, you just showed me the rectangle.
Okay, it showed you at what position? At the top left, right? At the top left of your screen.
Yes.
Good. So now we can be able to make our rectangle to display at any position on our screen we want to. So right now, once you use, before what we tried to use was draw rectangle, right? And we declare the position and the size. But now we are using another way of drawing rectangle called add rectangle. And then we declare just the sizes, the length and the width. But once you do that, it's going to start at a particular position. It's a fixed position. But we can be able to change the position to start from anywhere we want on our screen. So how do we do that? We are going to do something like shapes.move. You want to move a particular shape. What shape are you moving? I want to move this shape that I have created here, which I called rect. I want to move it. So where do we want to move it to? Remember, I told us when you want to move, when you want to decide anything that has to do with position on your screen, it has to be the coefficient of the x-axis and the coefficient of the y-axis. I explained this a number of times in our previous classes. So the first is the x-axis. So let's say it's going to start somewhere like around 150. Now let us run it and see what it's going to give us. So what did you notice now when you run it?
The rectangle is in the middle.
Pardon?
The rectangle is in the middle of the screen.
Okay. Now the right way to put it is that the rectangle shifted from where it was. It moved away from where it was to somewhere else. So what basically happened is this. When you draw a rectangle, it starts from a static position, which is at the top left of your system. At that point, x is 0 and y is 0. So you move it and declare the x position and the y position. So it now starts from the place you moved it to. You see? So there are a number of things that we can do with the rectangle. I'm going to write this bit of code, or I would advise you to write this bit of code. Well, let me write it first of all, because I'm also part of the class. So now let us write the code from here and run it and tell me what you realized. You have 5 minutes to do that or less.
The time of your cursor you make.
Pardon? Okay.
The rectangle keeps coming and going.
Okay, it displays and it goes out, and for every time it disappears and appears again, the opacity reduces. You see, it keeps getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Just keep on watching until it gets to 10. Is that true?
Yes.
All right, so now I'm going to explain, or did you understand what's happening there?
Yes.
Did you say anything? Are we still typing? Okay, Angela, you understood what's happening there. I'm glad. Is it possible you can help the class to explain to them?
Well, what I understood was, I basically understood only the rectangle kept going lighter into a lighter shade of purple. Then it went into this baby pink color and then peach, and it was gone.
Okay, all right. I'm going to make the code a lot more simpler, just in case of some of us who might not have understood. Well, now you don't are you done typing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So don't clean off your code. Just leave your code the way it is. You can open a new page, a new small basic editor to understand. So let us remember that the first line is the line that draws a rectangle. And while drawing the rectangle, it declares the length and the width. This line declares the position the rectangle is going to start drawing from. So shapes.move. What shape am I moving? I'm moving this shape. To where? To this space. I'm moving it to X 100 and Y 50. So now I want the shape that I have drawn to disappear after some time. Let's say I want it to disappear after like 1 second. So for me to do that, I would first of all do program dot delay. Delay means once the shape has appeared on my screen, wait for 1 second, or you can call it delay for 1 second. After 1 second, then something should happen. And in computer, 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds. Do you know how to count the kilometer, 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters is equals to 1 kilometer?
Yes.
So 1,000 milliseconds is equals to 1 second. So computer calculates in milliseconds. So if you want to declare 1 second in computer, you have to call it 1,000. So basically, what you are telling me is 1,000 milliseconds. So always have that behind there. Have that in your mind. So now that the rectangle, the shape I'm displaying have stayed for 1 second on the screen, I now want it to disappear. And how do I make it to disappear? I would make it shapes dot hide shape. So what shape do I want to hide? I want to hide this shape that I've created here. You see? So after I've hidden it, I still want it to delay for another 1 second, and then I want it to appear again on the screen. So I can do program.delay another 1 second, then shapes dot show shape. What shape am I trying to show? I'm trying to show the shape. So you see, it's going to display on the screen. It's going to wait for 1,000 seconds up. It's going to wait for 1 second to disappear. It is going to wait for another 1 second, it will appear. And then I want it, after it has appeared this second time, reduced. So I want it to be light. Shapes dot set opacity. So before you set the opacity, you first of all declare the shape, whose opacity you are trying to set, and then let's say 0.9, 0.4. So I'm remove this. Pardon me, I think my opacity is too small. So the highest opacity is 100. If you set it at 100, then that's the highest. Is going to be thick enough. But if you want it to be small as light as possible, you keep on reducing it. So I reduce mine to 50. I'm running it. I'm sure you cannot see what I'm running, but you are going to try it out on your screen. I'm just trying to explain to us what that for each was doing. So basically, what the for each was doing is that it's trying to hide the shape and show the shape like 10 times. It hide it, display it, hide it, show, hide it, show. So I've just simplified the code and written it so that it can just hide once and appear once. So now I want you to write this that I've written, not in the same project before, in another project, and then in another, just click on new to open a new editor. We call it editor. and write this, and let's know what happens on your screen. From that way, you can understand what happened in the previous one where there was for loop. Go on, please.
Now we're done and we're gotten our work and we do that for the
So, we're waiting for some others.
I'm done.
Interesting. Let's keep on going. More people. Are we all done?
No, sir.
Okay, let's complete it.
So I'm done.
Okay, so I'm sure you understood what I tried to explain. Did you? Did you see that happen on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's is that. I'm thinking of if we can just have a little classwork right here, right now. Just conscious of time. So I want to be sure that you follow me. Okay. So this is it. So here is just trying to explain to us all the lines that we have used. You see, add rectangle, you can define a rectangle by using this operation and specifying the name, the width, and the height of the rectangle. We have tried this, have we not? Yes, we have. We have tried it already. You can see it here. And we have explained it as well. So the show shape and hide shape, we've tried it as well. So if you write a code that hides a shape and you want the shape to also show again after some time, so after using the hide shape and maybe using the shapes.delay, the program.delay rather, you can show the shape once again using show shape. So we can set opacity. So the set opacity, you can set the opacity of a shape by using this operation and specifying the name of the shape and the opacity level from 0 to 100. Get opacity, you can return the opacity to a shape by using this operation and specifying the name. So basically, the set opacity and get opacity is like opposites of each other. So we can move on to working now with images. So I have taught us how to display image on our system, right? Using the draw image, but this one now is going to be the add image. So henceforth, when we are drawing shapes, I would advise us to use this add image, add rectangle, and all that instead of the draw image, because these have more object and function, small things you can do with it. I try to teach us the other one so that we can understand the difference between that one and this one. So now I want us to write this code, but remember that your image path is going to be different from their own. In our last class, I taught us how to define our image path using our image. Remember our image? What's the name of our image again? Someone remind me our name of our image. The last time we tried to use images, we gave it a default, the same name. All of us named ours the same name. What was the name again? You've forgotten so early. Come on, someone to say something.
Image_1.
Okay, that is the name of the variable. But have you forgotten? What are you seeing? Can you see my mouse? Can you see my mouse? Okay, sorry, you can't see it. We named our image and we called it my image, right? All right, you can go to your assignments or to your classwork. Those people that have done it, use that same image link, image path. And then write out these lines of code and run it. Let's see what's going to happen. You know what? Forget it. Let's try it here in the class. So using our rectangle, you can open a new editor like this. You click on new, open a new editor. So I'm going to remove this bunch of codes and leave out only the first line of code, which is a rectangle. In fact, I'm going to make it to be a smaller, 100 and 100. So now I'm going to do something like shapes dot animate. Animate means to move it. How many of us like animations?
Me too.
All right, good. I'm sure you think you are the only one that likes watching PJ Masks.
God forbid. No.
You don't like? So what are the names of the animations that you've watched? Let's hear it out.
Little brother, I hope I like watching PJ Masks.
So I like watching PJ Masks.
Hello.
So what are the animations that you've watched? Let's gist. Angela, speak up now. I can't hear you. The mic is mute.
John.
Pardon? Someone dropped a message.
And then we started saying to get almost into some stuff like that.
Pardon?
They jump.
A job.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I've seen a lot of animations and I love them. So I'm sure, and I'm just trying to use that for us to understand what animation is. So making an object to move, that's animation. So now we are going to do shapes dot animate. And what shape are we trying to animate? Remember, we are trying to animate the rectangle or the rect that we've created here. And then we are animating it to what? we're animating it to, so we're animating it to the x-axis. Let me do 400. Then the y-axis, let me do 400. So it has 4 parameters. The first parameter in the animation is the shape or the object you are trying to animate. The second parameter is the x-axis. The third is the y-axis. And the last parameter is going to be the duration. How fast or how slow you want the animation to happen. So I want it to happen within the duration of 2 seconds. You can make your own 1 second, it'll be very fast. For 2 seconds, it's a little slower. You can even make it more slower and slower and slower. So I'm trying to pick out these bits of code instead of writing many code, just to write simple lines of code for you to understand what some of all these objects are used for. So right now we have used the add rectangle, we've used the show shape or the hide shape, the set opacity, the program.delay, the shapes.move. So now we are using shapes.animate, and I'm going to run my code. So write your own and run it. Let's see what happens.
Now I've done
When you run it,
and the rectangle was moving across the screen.
okay. So let's say, for example, I want to move it on a horizontal form. You can see the move of my hands on a horizontal form from the left to the right. So maybe I should do something like this. So the x-axis is going to be to 400, and the y-axis. You have to understand this x-axis and y-axis carefully, because if you don't understand it, you cannot animate shapes to where you want it to be. You cannot even draw shapes. A class, when things are being shown like this, it can be very disturbing. You are trying to grab it and it's giving you some issues. I understand that fact of learning, but when you go back and study them, play around with them, it becomes simpler and simpler. So let's do this and run. You see, what if I have animated it to go to the left and I want it to also come back to the right? I can do something like program dot delay. So after it has gone to the left, it will delay for 1 second, and then it will animate just right back to where it started. So at this point, it's going to be 0, 0. So let's try this. Okay. Or maybe I should make it to 2 minutes, 2 seconds rather. So write this code and run it.
Now I've done it and move from right to right and bounce back to me.
What did you realize? Make sure you are saving this piece of code in different editors. Don't write it inside just one whole white space like this. If you want to write another one, continue and you start writing on that one, and always save all of them, because They are going to be very, very important for you when you start doing your projects. We can do a lot more than that. So what I'm doing now, I want you to start it up in a new project. A new project. Not in this one, because I'm going to change a lot of things right now. So this is going to be don't write yet. I'm trying to figure it out. So let's try this line of code. Let's try this bit of code. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's go on. Try it. Tell me what you discovered. Are you done?
Yes.
So, was it looking beautiful?
Why did you say we're broken?
Did you like it?
Who is talking?
Yes, he moved like in a square shape.
Asking the thing that you've just done, was it looking beautiful? Did you
Yes.
like it? I hope when I ask you to do that, you should be able to do that. You. Now let us do this. But remember to name your image path correctly. Okay. We've done something like this already. Someone said something. What was that?
I said, can you please move back to the last one? I was on the last line.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm done.
Okay. Did you like what you did?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Okay, so I'm done.
All right. So on a new project, let us also, we have been exploring rectangle. So know that rectangle is not the only shape. The other shapes. So you can create a new project for it.
Just let people that
So I have a question.
All right. Go on with it.
The last time you didn't use animate. Why
Yes.
animate now?
The last time, like I said, I have explained this already, right? Inside this class, I said that the last time there are many ways to draw shapes. And the last time we had rectangle, draw rectangle, right? graphics window dot draw rectangle, right? And now this is another way of handling shapes. Under this method, the zoom, the animate, the all that I will be trying out here. So I try to show us that method, and I'm showing us this method. So this method has the animate. So that's where I'm trying to use it. So the better method to use, I would advise you, is to use this method if you want to draw shapes. Except you want to use the former method, you can try a lot of things around it, because this one have some of the set opacity, the animate, and all that. All right, let us try out this piece of code. Let us run it and tell us what we noticed. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
So what do you realize?
Well, first that the square came diagonally, and then it became bigger, then it went back smaller.
And after going back to smaller, what happened?
It just stayed there for me.
No, you didn't write the code completely. There are more things you need to write. Look at the screen. So after it gets smaller, it goes back to where it started.
I think I did something wrong, but I don't know what I did wrong. It's exactly what is on the screen, but it's not going back.
All right. When others are done, you will share a screen. Let me see what you did.
Yeah. And Johnny went back to his space.
Okay. Got it now.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yes.
We're done.
Someone sent a chat saying there are also triangles, ellipses, and all that. Are they doing? Said so. I'm glad you figured that out. I've mentioned it already that there are other shapes, but for now we're just trying out with rectangles. So while you are trying out these exercises in the class, you might decide to add ellipses or add triangle instead of just rectangle. Thank you, doing for discovering that. I'm sure we are all done now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can move on now. So we have tried the animate and it's beautiful. We have tried the zoom. So if you want, okay, let me just explain my code. So the first line of code is for us to draw or add a rectangle. The second line of code is for the program to delay for 1 second. The third line of code is for us to animate our rectangle to a certain position. The fourth line of code is for programming and again to delay for 2 seconds. And then the next is the zoom. It zoomed in, delayed a bit for 2 seconds, and then zoomed out. So the shape increased, basically waited for some time and decreased again back to the original position, original size. And then you waited for 1 second and moved back again to where it started from. It's very simple and very nice. So now I'm going to leave you to write these lines of code. So now you can see that we are trying to use the former lessons that we had with the present lesson that we are having now. We are trying to bring them up together. So the former one shows us how we can change the color of our shape. That is the last Thursday's lesson. Today's lesson is showing us how we can animate our shapes, move it around the screen. You know, how we can zoom it out, zoom it in, and all that. So whatever you are seeing on your screen, the piece of code you are seeing on the screen, I want you to write it on a new small basic editor. Make sure you always save your code, like I always say. Write it and run it. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's go. Let us be fast because there are more things we need to do. And this lectures is not going to end until we are done with that. Are we done?
No.
Who is calling?
Why are we taking forever to get this done?
No. Where is it? Since
Are you done?
Yes, Mr. Emeka.
That's interesting. So, when you ran your code, what did you realize? You want to tell me? All right. Keep the information then.
My code is not.
Your code is not working. Then you wrote, you didn't write correctly. You didn't write correctly if your code is not working. So who else code is not working here? Who else's code is not working? So everybody's code is working except Angela. Angela, why is the code not working? Our class is almost coming to an end.
See that stuff, don't be afraid. I'll just send it.
Who is this kid? Excuse me, sir. You have not been marking our work. Lately, you have not been marking our work.
Have you been submitting your assignments?
Yes, but we don't see our score because you have not been marking our work.
You will get your works. You will get your works.
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah, you're saying something. Go on.
No,
Can't hear you correctly. Doesn't matter.
no, I just said I'm done.
Okay. I'm going to give us a simple assignment, but alas, bear it in mind that by Monday, our assignment is going to be a lot tougher.
What happened?
So I didn't understand lesson 9 assignment.
It's been all understanding assignment.
Why? Hello.
Come here.
The simple assignment, very simple. So Angela left us a message that she was able to drop her assignment on time last time. So I'm sure that she's going to drop her assignment on time again this time around. Angela, are you going to do that for us?
Yeah.
Good. That was very nice.
How are you? How are you?
Stop.
So remember the last time, the last lecture we had, Faith suggested that if we can be having our videos here. So if you want to look at the videos of the last class, you can always come to Google, Google Class, the classwork to check. In case your parents are using their phones, you don't have to disturb their phones. You can just come to Google Class to check on the videos and listen to it so you can remember what was taught. So that is it for today's class. We have come to the end of the class. I'm sure we finished on time today, did we not? We did. So we'll try to keep it up like this.
Yes, we did.
So bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And for those of us in some other places, enjoy the rest of your day.